Yeah, yes, I already started.
Alright. We are off.
You're gonna see a bit of delay, but they'll fix it. It always happens in every race.
Yeah, it's just a matter of stream delay between the runners.
So you're gonna see them here running on the Japanese version just because it saves a bit more time.
Yeah, so the Japanese version, as is pretty standard with most games where you'll see a difference between languages, is in text boxes. Japanese contains more information and less characters, therefore less text boxes and less mashing.
He's pulling out the Game Boy skip animations.
Pretty standard stuff we've seen in most races so far. If you're new to watching the Luigi's Mansion runs, there could be a couple things you might see the racers do, like Lecce just mentioned, with pulling out the Game Boy Horror to skip scare animations. Just saves a tiny bit of time, allows you to line up your flashlight before the rest can be stunned.
Also, if you're very familiar with this game and you did not notice with the map pulling out when you get a key, before they start, when you get a console, they run with this this glitch called map glitch, which basically they disable the map softly resetting the game and pretty much mashing in while trying to open the map as you're resetting the game and the training room. And that pretty much just resets the game. Disables the map pretty much. This saves a bit of time overall. You're also going to see some doubles here. Ultimately just double up those. So here,
alright, so
good rooms.
Yep, we've started off with DevvGameZ in a little bit of a lead, but anything can change, especially with some of the first portrait ghosts coming up.
You're gonna be seeing most portrait ghosts. Since this is any percent not a bounce, you're not gonna be seeing all portrait ghosts.
A bit of a shaky suck up on DevvGame's side. That's going to allow maybe a second or two for ElectricMiles to catch up here. Just getting a little bit closer. Mario.
Go with Lydia. This is probably the most laggiest room just because you just see them. It's gonna try to load up 2 rooms, as you can see in the balcony in the window. You're gonna see another room trying to load up, so pretty much outside there. And with lightning strikes, it's just gonna be more lag.
Alright, so we're approaching the first spot where we could see some major mistakes in the Chauncey fight. We've got 2 pretty experienced runners, so hopefully we won't see anything too major.
Yep. So they're gonna, at the end of each area, they're gonna be fighting a boss. And Chauncey's actually the only boss that you cannot one-cycle. 6 months ago, or 7. One cycle was discovered for King Vu, so yeah, Chauncey's the only area boss that you cannot one cycle.
Yeah, and because of that, we actually you'll see the runners purposefully drop Chauncey before 50 HP. You can get him down to, I think, like 6 even. Pretty low before it'll break off. But once you get him below 50, he'll start doing a different cycle for these rocking horses
Missing
and
that ball
balls.
catch.
Yeah, that's a slight mistake, but it's not going to cost too much time.
Ooh, ElectricMiles getting that ball catch.
But so yeah, those
Money.
the cycles of the rocking horses and the balls will change once you get them below 50 HP, and they become a bit slower. So instead, we drop them above 50 and then just get them down to 0 in the second cycle.
You're also going to see them going fully on the right side or left, just so those charging horses can charge at them as fast as possible, so you can speed up this boss battle.
Wow, and with slight mistakes in the Chauncey fight from DevvGameZ, it has become a nearly perfectly tied race out of Area 1.
Yeah, they're pretty much on the same time.
Dev with a slight lead, but that could change very soon, especially with the RNG moment coming up.
In Area 2, yeah. Area 2 is a lot bigger than Area 1. Area 1's just kind of like showing you how to play the game pretty much. It's pretty simple.
I think an underrated piece of tech in this game is every time you load back into the mansion, you need to mash through a bit of text and do a menu with EGAD to decide what you want to do, if you want to go to the training room or if you want to go back to the mansion. And in Hidden Mansion speedruns, the one we want to select is actually the second option. It's not something a lot of people think about, but it is actually possible to make a mistake and go to the normal mansion, which is the top option.
Yeah, at the end of each area, they're just going to give you a summary of what you did, how much money you collected during that area. You're going to see both runners pointing up their flashlight. That is to prevent ceiling ghosts from spawning in and scaring Luigi. If they get Luigi scared, that would just waste a bit of time. I think around 2 seconds or something.
It's a pretty small amount of time, but if you just let it happen throughout the run, you can waste a pretty considerable amount of time.
Now we're introducing grabber ghosts now. You're gonna see throughout the run, they're gonna want to get grabbed by the grabber ghosts just so they can get some quick doubles, as you can see what they just did right now.
Yeah, getting grabbed by them allows you to line them up pretty nicely. Once you get a feel for how it takes to shake them off, you can line them up perfectly with other ghosts to get doubles and even triples later on.
Now we're in Ballroom. This is one of the hardest rooms just because of these shy guys. Pretty hard. This is also the room that gives you big RNG.
Yeah, so either one of them could pull ahead here.
Getting early release. Oh, both. Oh, I think DevvGameZ got early release.
Yeah, DevvGameZ has gotten early release and Miles missed it, meaning DevvGameZ is going to save 10 seconds on ElectricMiles for free here.
Yeah, for some reason, those dancers ghosts can just show their hearts 10 seconds earlier, 10 seconds late. It's just a random, it's just an RNG thing. You either get it or don't. Now you're gonna see in Dev's screen, you're gonna see him do this, especially he gets it, yep. He is doing poster skips, so you pretty much can align yourself and get a poster that's on that wall across it, and you can pretty much stock it off early as you're doing the wave of ghosts. It's not really poster skip since you're not escaping the poster, it's just stocking off early.
Yeah, and since you managed to do that while waiting for a ghost to spawn, it ends up saving time over doing it after you've hit the button, because otherwise you would just have to walk over and pull it off the wall without anything else going on. So you're just losing time to having to pull it off instead of being able to multitask and do it while something else is happening.
Now, they're at this part of the game called Boo Release. They're done with Boo Release Split or whatever. Now we're going to be introducing boos.
Yeah, boos are the biggest RNG element of this game. We already saw a little bit with the dancers, but the boos can cost way more time later on because how it works in every room that's lit up, or at least most of the rooms that are lit up in the game, a boo will spawn, and he will hide inside an object in the room. The objects he can hide inside are set, but the one he hides inside will be randomly determined.
Yeah, there's sometimes it can be like you can like spawn a decoy, it's not like an actual boo. But you're also gonna see a strat they're gonna do called R pumping, and you're gonna see text skip. So pretty much by holding the L and R button, every single time you let go of R and then pull it down again, you do a pump. So you just keep on R pumping. And that stunts the boo in place, pretty much.
Yeah,
and also...
Go ahead.
Oh, do you want to mention tech skip?
Yeah, we could explain it. What you saw with them... actually, I don't know if either of them went for it. You can pull off the tablecloth in that room about halfway, and then if you catch a boo and immediately suck up an object like a tablecloth or a towel, it will actually override the last object that Luigi sucked up and won't trigger EGAD's text talking about how you got the boo and prompting you to save. So if you can do that in a couple different rooms in the game, you can completely skip a text box, saving a few seconds.
Yeah, unfortunately, DevvGameZ did not get that text skip in the first room.
I think ElectricMiles also missed it. Sometimes you can't get it, especially in the case of that first room. Sometimes the boo will just be underneath the tablecloth, and you'll have no choice but to suck it off all the way before spawning the boo.
Yeah, you also notice if he's in the tablecloth, if there's a bump. Some players just give up, and they don't even go for the text skip. If they see a bump on the table, they just pull the cloth off.
Yeah, a big part of saving time to the RNG in this game is it can have a big effect on the speed, and sometimes there's really nothing much you can do about how long it takes to find the boo, but being able to read your radar well is a huge help in finding the boo.
Yeah. So pretty much to continue on the game, they need to get 5 boos, which is what they just did, so they can unlock this bathroom room.
And it's one of the best rooms in the game. Pretty much the only reason it exists is to give you a key to another room. Pretty much the only reason that room exists is to force you to get 5 boos before you can move on.
You can see now they're going into this mirror room. They don't really need it. That mirror is like completely useless since most runners already know where the boo is. I mean, the ghost star. So you're gonna see them do doubles as we explained earlier. So you're gonna be getting grabbed, shake them off, one himself, and you get that double.
And we're going to see an attempt, I assume, at a save warp coming up. Oh, DevvGameZ missing a double. That's going to cost a little bit of time. I think Miles might slightly pull ahead. Oh, they're still going to be pretty tied, with DevvGameZ still slightly ahead.
See this RNG. Oh, Miles getting ahead now, since that RNG.
So what we're going to expect to see here is you'll see Miles is going to grab the boo and the medal at the same time, and then save and reset the game to warp back to the title screen and get back to the start of the mansion. That skips the long text box that the fire metal spawns, and also skips having to grab fire and light the candles in the mirror room.
Yeah, also, that butler cycle will also be reset.
So the two runners are still extremely close so far. We can normally expect to maybe see some deviation in the times at this point, but we haven't really seen that. Some kind of ups and downs in the RNG and performance of both players, but it's managed to line them up almost exactly.
Just see them just clearing this optional room just so they can get the boo later as they're exiting out this part. Let's see if they're gonna go for that hat skip or chest skip or whatever it is. Oh, Miles missing the double. Alright, let's see if he gets it. Oh, no.
Yeah, so neither of them getting the cutscene skip, it's not going to make too big of a difference. All it really means is you get into this room a little bit later, and you have to lose a little bit of time to getting to suck up the butler later.
It's kind of like a small thing. Earlier we were talking about text skips, and there's a skip you can do by as you're sucking up this boo. If you go to the mouse hole, it just gets rid of the boo text, and this is a Japanese exclusive only. You cannot do this on the other versions of the game. It's only this one.
That was actually really close on DevvGame's side, almost sucking up the boo before going into the mouse hole.
Yeah, you want a soft lock, man.
Here we have one of my favorite rooms in the game. When executed well, this room is extremely satisfying.
It's also a really difficult room.
Yeah.
ElectricMiles, yeah, they both did not get well a quad, but Miles backing it up, getting a quad, but not exactly how I wanted it.
Coming out of the room still almost completely tied. This is one of the closest races I've seen so far.
Yeah, this is very close. Ooh, poison mushroom. This is gonna be really close.
Managing to chase the boo over to the left side of the room to avoid that poison mushroom, but it's gonna cost a little bit of time to have to run back to the door.
Yeah, that's been mentioned with RNG. Sometimes things will spawn like mushrooms, like poison mushrooms, for example, or coins or bills, or nothing. You definitely don't want to get a poison mushroom. That can really affect you. With poison mushrooms, if you do get hit by one, it just turns Luigi completely small and mini, and you cannot do anything for 10 seconds, pretty much. You're completely useless. Now you see with this Portrait Ghost, she's going to be either playing the Mario Bros. Water theme or Super Mario Bros. 3 theme. I think DevvGameZ got Mario Bros. 3.
Yeah, and Miles got the water theme. They're pretty much identical, but the water theme saves slightly more time to menuing.
Let's see if Miles can get ahead with this RNG. Oh, he got it. Nice.
So here you can see how big a difference RNG can make. Miles spawning the boo on the far right side of the room, and Dev having to go all the way to the far left, and you can just see how massive of a difference that makes between the time.
Dev getting actually the worst RNG in this room. Yeah, with just like that, with just RNG, Miles just got ahead.
And we mentioned it before, but for anyone still tuning in, there's small tech that's maybe hard to understand in this game, like looking up in the hallways, or using the Game Boy Horror while ghosts are spawning. Looking up in the hallways is to prevent ghosts in the hallways from spawning that are completely optional and have no effect on the run, but if they spawn and scare Luigi, you lose a little bit of time to that scare animation. And the Game Boy Horror does the same thing in a different way. It just completely skips Luigi's scare animation entirely.
Yeah, so they have their second element, water. There's 3 elements of the game: fire, water, and ice.
Yeah, I think some of them seem like a bit more of an afterthought. There's a lot of use of fire throughout the run, not so much water or ice. But they do find their uses. Water is especially useful in the 100% run, because if you water most of the plants in the mansion, they'll give you money.
Yeah, and earlier you saw them entering to the first room, and you saw a ghost just passing by that ghost. That is an optional ghost, and we don't need that ghost since we don't need it for any percent out of bounds. That's only for Hondo or Max or any other category.
So you can see both characters, both players, stunning that first skeleton for a while to hold him in place while waiting for the second one to line up for a double. That can happen anywhere from almost instantly to like 5 seconds after they all spawn. But generally, you can keep that first one held almost indefinitely until the next one lines up for the double. Neither of them got it too fast, and it didn't really make too big a difference in their times.
Alright, so now you have our second area boss, Bogmire. Unlike Chauncey, you can actually one-cycle Bogmire. I think this is the easiest boss out of the whole entire game, so let's see if they get it. Ooh, this might be close. No, Miles got it. Yep. And same with DevvGameZ. They both got one cycle.
Dev's looking a little scarier with Bogmire dragging him out into the center there. The more Bogmire drags you, the more likely he is to break off. You can control it. You do have a level of control over how much he can drag you and how likely he is to break off. But it's still pretty hard sometimes, and occasionally there's really just nothing you can do.
Yeah, sometimes he'll just drag you. You can't. Sometimes you can hold the left stick and try to regain control, and you just finish him off. And once I him, that does work as well. This is a pretty good race so far. Pretty close actually. Not even that much of a difference. We're gonna be heading to Area 3 right now. I think it's the most disliked area, I think. With the orange, you can really ruin you in runs.
Yeah, it's also, as the game goes on, each area gets longer and longer, so throughout the span of an entire area, there's a lot more room to mess up in the later ones. But it's still extremely impressive that both players are this close coming out of Area 2, because Area 2 has a ton of opportunities to really screw you over and put you in a bad place. But both players managing to get control over those aspects, including we saw one player got early release on the dancers and one didn't, which is a 10-second time difference, and yet we have them so close together still.
Yeah, it's really impressive. Oh, we're gonna... What's going on?
Are you having issues?
Okay, so you can see here, Luigi's getting eaten by a lion.
Save Luigi.
What do you have? Oh my god, no way. It's Mario. Who would have expected this, man? No one saw this coming.
I can't believe they would do this to him.
Yeah. So yeah, that's Mario. He's kidnapped by King Boo, and yeah, and Luigi does nothing. He just leaves.
In a wicked turn of events, Mario is the one who is captured instead of Princess Peach, who I don't know is ever mentioned in this game. It's been a while since I've read through the English text, but at the very least...
I think there's a bit of an issue.
I'm not sure the audio we're hearing right now.
Oh my god. You're gonna be going. They're gonna be going on this treadmill right now and getting this key. Yeah, will help use. And it's just it's gonna be faster for traveling around the mansion. Oh my god.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to get control of myself. I'm not sure what that was. Maybe an alert or something. But it seems like audio for both runners is now cut out. So hopefully we get that back. No, I can still hear it. It's just gotten a little quieter.
Oh yeah. Earlier you saw it now as they're going up the room. They're shooting water through that floor. You can actually just shoot water through it and that door that's up there, and take out the fire. And then as soon as you go up to that door, by the time you're up there, the door is out of fire, and you pretty much save a bit of time.
Yeah, it's
Miles
one of the cooler...
ahead.
Yes, Miles has pulled ahead. I actually seem to have missed what happened. Just some struggles in Ice Room. Kind of an underrated room. There's some difficulties you can have in it that people don't really think about because of how simple it is. There's only 2 ghosts.
And earlier, you saw both players getting a piece of paper. You have to collect, I think, 5 items of Mario. 5 of them, and you have to get them to this, to Clairvoyant. She's, what do you call him?
A fortune teller.
A fortune teller, yes. So you're gonna give them these. You're gonna give her these items, and she's basically just gonna tell you what's going on in the mansion and where's Mario and all this stuff.
Yeah, so there's 5 items that you pick up throughout a little bit of Area 2 and then most of Area
most of the items
3.
are in Area 3.
You saw earlier in the laundry room, they got Mario's hat, and then there's Mario's letter, there's his star, his glove, and his shoe. Which Luigi uncomfortably comments smells like Mario's feet in the English version. He might do the same in Japanese, but I do not speak Japanese, so I wouldn't be able to tell you.
Come on, man, you don't know how to read Japanese.
Yeah, I unfortunately have not studied a very difficult foreign language for the sake of playing a video game.
You're just gonna see them doing doubles.
Yeah, so Miles has taken a considerable lead now with a few mistakes from Dev and a little bit of unfortunate RNG. Hopefully going to be able to pull that back to a closer race.
Let's see if Miles gets it. Oh. This room's kind of hard to read just because of so many candles.
Yeah, the boo can be in any of these candles or either cabinet on either side. And it's pretty hard, especially for a beginner, to be able to read the radar and be able to tell exactly which one.
Alright, let's see if Miles gets this first try moonshot. Oh my god.
A little bit of bitrate problems on
Oh my god. Let's see if he gets it.
We should still be able to tell.
Hopefully his internet doesn't die out on us.
On Dev seeming
getting that decoy.
Almost getting really great RNG, still finding the boot pretty fast and not losing too much time. Miles taking the moonshot. That looks like it's gonna hit.
Yeah, he got it.
Very close.
Yep.
Sometimes it's hard to tell. Like, you could be a pixel off and it might look like you got it, but you didn't.
So they're getting the star now from this moon they just shot. For some reason, there's a moon in the mansion, but they're getting Mario's star now.
Yeah, this is a very
Providing.
very strange part of the game. It really doesn't seem like it fits with the
It's
aesthetic.
very cool part of the game, to be honest.
It is definitely interesting and unique.
Ooh, right in the
Perfect
middle.
center bullseye.
Bullseye.
But
Yeah, this kind of already precise way you can do moonshot. That's how most runners do it. Just get that angle.
But unfortunately, neither of them going for the 360 no-scope moonshot, so I'm
No
going to
360
have
no scope.
to declare a DNF for both players.
Yeah, qualified.
So now we're going to see Miles move into one of my favorite
Miles,
rooms in the
Miles
game
is ahead.
in terms of tech. Definitely ahead by quite a bit now. There's some fun tech in this room that especially looks cool to show off to friends who don't play the game. Because the ghosts are completely invisible, the game wants you to rely on the light from the projector putting their shadow on the background. But speedrunners, you know, they always spawn in the same spot, and we know where they spawn, so we don't even need to do that. We can do the whole thing with the ghost completely invisible.
You definitely got it. You nice.
That triple can be pretty intimidating, but once you've got the movement down for it, it's actually not too bad, but it definitely looks cool.
Alright, so you're gonna see him getting the boot, and as he's getting the boot, he's gonna get Mario's I think it's his glove. And he's gonna be save warping with his glove. You can't skip the text. You can't. There is another way of doing it by skipping the text. But this is usually a casual way of doing it, I guess. And also getting that nice triple.
Oh, that seems like it could be good RNG.
This RNG for Dev, man. For Dev games, it's not going that good. There's always a decoy. Now we're gonna be heading back to Area 1 hallway and just getting boosts.
Yep, and we're about to see another set of portrait ghosts, actually, the twins in this room, and another spot of RNG that isn't based on booze. The twins are going to put a bunch of boxes in the room and play hide and seek with you, and the ones that they hide in are completely random. Fortunately, we can either use the vacuum or our element to see which boxes shake, and whichever ones shake are guaranteed to have the twins in them. So it's less luck-based than it seems from a casual perspective, and definitely from a casual perspective, this room is pretty frustrating because you just have to keep leaving and re-entering the room until you find both of them.
A lot of people did not know this, that you can use the vacuum.
I know I didn't until I started running the game.
No one knew. Yeah, until they started running the game like a few years ago, I think they just found out about this a few years ago, I think.
I know it's been quite a while. I mean, I picked
quite
up the game
a while now.
2014. It's one of the earlier speed tech discoveries, especially since it seems to have been intentional by the devs. But it's not like, I don't think they tell you anywhere. I mean, it could be one of those Nintendo things where there's a hint for it somewhere that we didn't really pick up on. But who really reads the text boxes? You know?
Yeah. Anyways, you can see there's those pearls can auto lock the vacuum. For example, if you're like getting a boo, and there's a bunch of pearls everywhere around the room, you can your vacuum would instead auto lock to that pearl instead of or to a heart instead of the boo.
Yeah, Nintendo seemed to decide that money was a bigger priority than the main thing you have to suck up in the game.
And mine was setting up for a tech skip.
Yeah, this is one of the first tech skips that was known about in the game, is the one on this bed here. Getting it pretty easily.
Yeah, this is pretty not easy texture to get for sure. I think laundry texture is the hardest one.
Yeah, it's definitely up there. Pretty much any room with a tablecloth or a towel or something you can suck up, you can do a text skip in. But the objects are either really strong and require a lot to pull off, like some of the really big tablecloths in the game,
Yeah.
or in the case of the towel in the laundry room, you can't really tell what the progress is. Um, so you really
Yeah.
just have to go based on feel.
So earlier we were talking about the fortune teller, clairvoyant, and pretty much about Mari's items. So at the end, like around the end of Area 3, we're just gonna come in Clairvoyant's room and just pretty much it's pretty much just mashing through this whole entire point. This room just throughout mashing and it's just hurting your fingers, dying inside.
Yeah,
And
unfortunately for us speedrunners, it's faster to deposit all of these items at once instead of coming back throughout the playthrough, so we have to mash through the text of every single item all at once. Also, you could see Dev shook the table in between text boxes there. That can happen based on your lineup on the side here, and can cost a little bit of time. So you saw Dev just realign themselves to make sure that doesn't happen again.
yeah, it was just a question of mashing. Pretty much.
I just want to
Oh,
apologize in advance if you hear any fireworks in the background. In the US of A, it's July 3rd, not actually July 4th, but people get rather patriotic and like to start setting off fireworks as soon as July hits.
yeah, this is also Clairvoyant is kind of a different portrait goes to suck up. You have to different way to suck her up. And Miles getting a good RNG, I think.
Yeah, Clairvoyant is kind of a weird case where I think the canonical explanation of why her dragging pattern is so unique is because she actually doesn't want to fight you. She wants to get sucked up and she wants to go back into her portrait. At least that's what the English text explains, is now that her purpose has been completed, she can happily return to her portrait.
Miles still on a big lead.
Yeah, there is definitely a big lead. It's not the biggest lead. They're gonna be in the Bolas's boss fight together. So it's within a minute, but definitely Miles with the considerable lead at this point.
So I forgot to mention with Area 1 ghosts, there's these green garbage ghosts. They don't actually have a damage hitbox, so you can just push them aside to do some doubles. And I think Miles is gonna get a double, as you can see there.
Yeah, the only issue with them is they drop banana peels, and if you slip on one, you will immediately drop any ghost that you were pulling. And if you start to suck them up while pulling a ghost, they are pretty much guaranteed to make you slip instead of going into your vacuum. So you really want to avoid them at all costs.
Also, with Ice Element, you can freeze a boo in place and just, for example, need to open a chest, as you can see what Miles just did. You can just do that or grab pearls or money. We're gonna be heading to the end of Area 3, heading to the area boss.
Bolas's can be one of the hardest bosses for sure, and one of the most intimidating ones. You're gonna see a strategy implemented though, where after grabbing the ice element, Miles and then Dev, they're going to walk all the way across the stage with their vacuum out in order to get all 15 of the small boos to follow them
Ooh,
and group up together. What happened?
Oh, Def. I think Def did a save. Did he?
I'm not sure I missed it, but
Okay.
if that had happened, which I apologize as a commentator, probably shouldn't have missed that. But saving wastes a little bit of time because it locks you in the save text box.
It's great to see Miles lining up himself for this setup.
Yeah, so like I was explaining, all the boos are going to group up, hopefully, and be able to get shot with one of these ice balls.
That was nice. That was actually
really
pretty
good.
I did not expect him to get. I don't think that looked like a good shot, but it was a good shot. That was pretty good for losses.
Yeah, so
Hopefully Dev gets the same thing.
you could see they were all grouped up in one little group there, and he was able to shoot almost all of them and then just round up the stragglers. I should also explain, it's because it's not something I really think about too much. After this fight, which hopefully will go well, a little bit awkward at the start. There's some boos kind of all over the place.
Ooh. Did we bring some bit of cleanup?
I don't think rough. This is looking like it might be a 3-cycle. Yeah.
Oh, 2 cycle. Oh no, this is 1 cycle.
One?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
He saved it. He barely saved it, dude.
You can see that little cloud forming. That means they're getting ready to go back in. And usually once you see that, it means it's pretty much over.
Unless you shoot an ice and you're able to save it.
Yeah. That was probably one of the last frames he could have
done. Man. Dev's still a bit behind.
But anyway, I was about to say, you can see it's something I don't really think about too much now just because it's become muscle memory at this point. At the start of the Colossus fight, they actually move in a very specific way. They go directly to the right, and then directly down once they get to a certain point, and then run to the left. And that makes it so that Colossus will move in a perfectly predictable pattern to pop himself on the horn of the unicorn statue.
I think that boss is a boss that most people have their different kind of setups for it, depending on where the ice spawns on that statue, on what side it is. And also, I don't think it's important, but on the PAL version of bosses, Luigi's riding vacuum, which is pretty hilarious. It's better on PAL, that boss. Him riding on his vacuum. That's one better part about Colossus than JP or English version.
Now, something I should mention that is kind of hard to see because it's not something you see is ElectricMiles actually got sound glitch, which means his game has no audio. In case you're wondering why we still have DevvGameZ audio despite Miles being in the lead, it's because Miles' game glitched out and he's actually playing with no audio right now, which can make a couple things a little trickier because there are some cues in the game that we use audio for.
Yeah, so we're in the first part of Area Fortress Blackout. So basically, there's just a blackout in the mansion that happens. And someone discovered that there's a mirror in Safari Room, which stays a huge time because you don't want to be walking down the mansion with a bunch of ghosts just spawning in.
During the blackout, you need to walk all the way into Wardrobe Room to get a ghost called Grimly, which hopefully we'll see some good RNG for. And then you need to walk all the way down to the basement to turn the power back on.
Yeah, back then people would just some runners would just had to switching from sidestep to standard at the beginning. Ooh,
that not the slowest Grimly.
Not the slowest. It wasn't that good, but it was okay. I would say it was an average. Not that, like slightly like under average.
Yeah. Grimly. So basically, with Grimly,
Dev
missing the mirror a couple times.
Missing the mirror a couple times. Yeah.
Yeah. So the thing about Grimly is, for some reason, the devs of the game or some person working on the game decided to make Grimly just sit there doing nothing and randomly decide to show his heart somewhere between instantly and I think the longest we've seen is somewhere around 48 seconds of waiting. DevGame's getting a pretty slow one here. Still not that slow, but on the slower end of the RNG range.
Yeah, I think you got it at the same time. I think around the same time as ElectricMiles. As you can see now, you're just gonna go to breaker room to turn on the switch, and there's a boo in here in breaker room that I don't think both runners are gonna be going for, but I think only like top runners go for it. It's breaker boo. That boo saves you around 10 seconds, and it's a lot of time saved on that boo.
Yeah, the only reason
hard
only
to
top
do.
runners go for it is because it's one of the faster boos in the game and has 200 HP. Something we haven't explained up to this point that's going to come into play in Area 4 is the amount of cackles that a boo has, at least that's how we refer to them. Is basically each boo makes a cackling laugh noise when you start sucking them up, and when they make that noise, they will get held in place for a short amount of time. But each boo only has a limited amount of times they can make that sound before they will either sit still for you and just run out of the room without a care in the world. So with the R pumping, that's what we're making them cackle and making them stand still for another 10 HP. But once they cackle 15 times, they'll leave. So with boos over 150 HP, you can't just hold them completely still the entire time. You need to do a little bit better manipulation of their positioning in order to one-cycle them, because if you just do it every 10 HP, they're going to run away before you get them to 0.
Now they're heading to Area 4 now. We're gonna be skipping through this room just because I think this is telephone room. There's just be walking through it, skipping it because it's an optional room. You don't really need it. We're gonna be heading to clock room now. You can do a soldier toy double. It's a bit difficult. It's not as difficult as twin double.
Yeah,
but
it's a bit
it
tricky
saves you
just
a bit
because of because of the pulls of the toy soldiers. It can be a bit tricky because they can
Miles is
start
going for
pulling.
that. Oh, that poison mushroom. Oh, he's going for singles now.
Yeah, if that poison mushroom hadn't spawned, I think he would have gone for it.
Yeah. Also, the double, it saves a bit of time. It takes more or less depending on how you do the double, because some runners would just be or have both soldier toys. They'll be sucking up both of them, but they won't be damaging them both at the same time. Some runners will just, for example, just be sucking one off and then dealing damage, and then just start doing it to the other one. Let's see if Dev gets it.
Getting dragged a little bit by
Oh,
the
Devin is in a perfect position. He has the perfect position for this double.
Ooh.
Oh,
You got both of them to show their hearts, but one of them getting not able to get caught for a while.
It was an okay double, I would say. And ElectricMiles, getting an alright rooftop, I would say. Didn't go that bad. Something before, when runners back in the day, they used to do rooftop. They would just not burn them all the way. They would get them in a specific way to get like a 6-piece.
The Boston burn.
Yeah, and that was actually slower than just burning them the whole entire way.
Which is really unfortunate because it's one of my favorite strats in the game. It looks really cool when done well. You get the loudest ping noise in the world when you flash them with the flashlight.
Yeah.
And then get to suck them all at once.
I already see Miles in army rooms, another hard room. I think this is the laggiest room in the game, right?
Yeah, it's pretty laggy. It's up there with
He's getting the
Lydia's
3-piece. Oh, I think yep, he got it. He got the 3-piece, which is usually what most runners would go for if they're going for like a good run.
So we're gonna see the first Boo with 150 HP. If you remember what I said earlier about having 15 cackles, you can do them 10 HP each, which means you can get the entire Boo in one sitting. As I think you're about to see Miles do almost the locking onto the heart at the last second and having the Boo escape.
But Dev also getting that 3-piece.
Yeah.
Nice.
But what can happen with the 150 HP Boos is you can get things called double cackles. Oh no.
Oh my god.
You can get things called double cackles, where basically, if the Boo gets into a certain position, and you start to get a better feel of what those positions are, but sometimes
bad read.
Yeah, sometimes it's hard to control the position of the Boo. This is a really good positioning. You want the Boo to be low, about Luigi's head height, and not too far away. So this is looking pretty clean.
Around
the Boo at the
end.
end.
The same health as Miles. This is a pretty identical run. Other than that, is Dev's RNG is a bit worse than Miles.
Yeah, we've just seen a little bit worse RNG and a little bit worse execution and reads from Dev, which is really the main reason Miles is ahead here. Other than that, it's an extremely close race.
Here to be safe warping now.
Yeah, so that's just another save warp. It saves a little bit of time over having to take the.
There's around 4 save warps, right?
Let's see. There's fire. There's the glove. There's Weston, and there's armory. So yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes, as we've seen earlier with the fire metal, the save warp skips a text box, and skips having to do a room. Other times, it just makes it so. It's just a faster way to get back to the foyer than having to find a mirror and warp.
We're a few minutes away from beating the game. Yeah, I think they just need. This is the second last portrait ghost. This Weston, you can easily one cycle him, but sometimes you would break off to him.
That was actually a little bit on the sketchy side for Miles. Once he starts going out into the middle of the room, it gets a little bit harder to control. And these pearls in this room can really provide a struggle, so you're going to see Miles sucked up a few of them that were in the middle of the room.
Yeah, he doesn't, again, as I mentioned earlier, auto-lock can just ruin you getting that one cycle.
Miles just barely squeaking out a one cycle on that Boo. It looked like he might have gotten a double cackle right at the beginning.
Now he's going to be heading up to Van Gogh, the last portrait ghost. Probably the longest portrait ghost to do.
Yeah, just because of the setup of Van Gogh, he makes you fight 3 of every generic ghost in the game.
I don't think he has every ghost though. They don't have the skeleton ghost.
Yeah, true. But 3 of most of the ghosts in the game.
Yeah, they have most of the ghosts.
DevGameZ getting a 2 cycle on Weston there. It's not the most uncommon thing to see, but it's definitely disheartening as a runner to drop Weston.
Also, of course, getting that decoil, man. He's been getting too many decoils this time, man. Hopefully he gets this one cycle. And yeah, he got it. Nice.
That one seemed like it didn't really have any issue. The pearls were kind of compacted in the corner, not providing much issue, and the Boo's positioning was not too bad. Sometimes the Boo can fly up towards the ceiling, and it makes it really hard to control your R-pumps and prevent him from double cackling.
Let's see if Miles gets one cycle for all these sets.
Oh, and missing a triple on...
Missing the first one? How?
The first triple, that is pretty uncommon.
That is pretty uncommon.
They have one of the largest and most generous inboxes. And yeah, this is just rough off of the start of this Van Gogh fight.
He's joking. Will Dev get an opportunity?
Yeah, if we see that for every triple, then there's definitely potential for Dev to catch up.
Oh, getting okay. That triple. How do you get? Okay, so you missed the first two, but he gets the hardest one. Okay, this triple is pretty hard. Since if you try to do this triple pretty close up, and won't flash all the ghosts.
Yeah,
So let's
the
use the way you want to back up.
hitboxes for the
bad
grabber
for those.
ghosts are pretty small and awkwardly
Yeah.
shaped. But it looks like the rest of this is going to go pretty smoothly. Yep, once he gets this triple of the trash can ghosts, the last one is just
Ceiling ghost. You can just burn
ceiling
them.
ghosts. I'm not really sure why the ceiling ghosts were included in this fight. They're kind of a strange addition, but you just burn them and they'll die immediately.
Let's see if Death gets all the triples. Nice. I feel like this triple might mess him up. But he might get it. Yeah, I think he's gonna get it. Yep, nice.
Alright, so we're gonna see the largest amount of HP in a Boo in this run and in the entire game for Miles here. Impossible to one-cycle this Boo because I believe he's the fastest Boo in the game and has 300 HP. So, as I've mentioned before, each Boo can only cackle 15 times before they'll run away, so you can get him down a little bit under 150, and then hopefully finish him off in the second cycle. But getting a little bit out of control, I'm not sure if he's going to be able to do it.
He got it.
Just
Nice.
barely.
Barely. He was right next to that door. I think Death is getting all the sets. So I think he got all the sets.
He did get all the triples, so saving some time on ElectricMiles, but it's gonna be. I'm not sure if it's gonna be close enough to come
No, I
down
don't
to
think
King
so.
Boo, unfortunately.
But yeah, unfortunately, Miles is very ahead.
So at this point, I mean, anything can still happen, but at this point, it's looking like Miles is going to be the winner. We're going to see. Hopefully, he goes for at least a 2-cycle, because we always like to see some challenging strats.
I'm pretty sure he's gonna be going for a 2-cycle.
You'll see most runners will go for a 2-cycle. It's
168. I don't think it's gonna be enough for a 2-cycle for Death.
That's gonna be a little on the rough side.
Then you have him at 58, at 150 HP for one cycle to happen for a Boo. You can actually you can one cycle a 300 HP Boo in Pipe Room. That's just a pro 100%, or break a Boo which has 200 HP. But for this Boo, Dev having trouble with this Boo.
Yeah, the Boo in Pipe Room is a bit of an exception because it is exceptionally slow. It's the slowest Boo in the game by far. So you can do like one cackle and then have him slowly move all the way across the room and get upwards of 30 or even 40 HP just from one. So we see both runners now going into the final boss. The final boss has some weird mechanics. King Boo kind of works like a normal Boo, except he won't stand perfectly still for you, and yet R pumping will still be able to hold him for longer than if you weren't to do R pumping.
Is he gonna go for instant shots? Oh no, he's playing it safe. You can do instant shots by setting up a specific angle.
So you're gonna see the goal for this first cycle is gonna be to get King Boo to about half HP, which is about 250 or lower.
Ooh,
Miles
nice.
doing that pretty easily. You can get him pretty low.
What's going on with Dev?
Dev seems to be having some controller issues, which
I
is
think
really
it's a controller
unfortunate.
Oh,
at least,
never mind, just back.
thankfully, not. Let me shut up for a second, actually, because Miles is about to get this 2-cycle pretty easily,
GG.
and Miles has been
59-26.
declared the winner.
Yeah, 59-26, pretty good time for a race.
Yeah, I think that's within a minute of his PB. I think he had the lower PB to begin with. Let me just check that real quick. Yeah, so ElectricMiles had a 58.47, so within a minute of his PB during the race. That's pretty impressive. And actually beating DevvGameZ's PB of 59.37. So a very good showing from DevvGameZ to consider the fact that in order to beat Miles in this race, DevvGameZ would have had to PB. Which it's not very common to see a PB in a race, especially at a higher level.
Yeah. And with the RNG Jeff was getting. Let's see if he gets this 3-cycle.
256, it's doable.
It's doable. You can still get a 2-cycle with that amount of HP.
We'll hopefully see him go for it. Sometimes you can play it safe. Once King Boo gets under 200 HP, you'll start losing time to Bowser putting his head on backwards.
Ooh, no, that's gotta be a 3-cycle.
Ooh, playing it smart though. As soon as he got hit over 200 HP, deciding not to get him under 200 HP, because then you can just go right back behind this pillar and do the same thing again, instead of waiting for him to put his head on backwards and run around aimlessly.
The 3rd cycle for King Boo, Bowser's head just is backwards, and he runs around and wastes time, and would be on time. Ooh, 101.
101.31.
Oh, GG to both runners.
And I think we're about to
get an
interview with Miles here. As soon as he wants to join in with us. Pretty close race, honestly. A few mistakes from Dev, and also some button issues at the end. It's actually, I'm kind of thankful in a bittersweet way that Dev was not very close or in the lead when that happened, because that would have been an absolutely tragic way to lose a race.
Yeah, that would have sucked, to be honest. See if Miles can join. Okay, there you go. How do you feel right now, Miles? You won the race.
Indeed.
Seemed like a pretty good run, all things considered.
Beating DevvGameZ PB, slapping him in the face. I'm just joking.
Yeah, I mean, all my practice runs, pretty much, I've been consistently getting like mid-59s, and I got a mid-59, so I did exactly what I needed to do.
Call as well.
Hello.
And
what's
here
up?
as well. Welcome.
What a race, man. I had some shenanigans happen in Area 3, man. That was rough. My vacuum was locking on the stuff I didn't need it on. Just getting poked with that Luigi's Mansion minor time loss at a time.
Yeah,
I know. I went back down into the well. Shoot, I had an alert go off on my. I had an alert go off. Scared me to death.
Yeah, those alerts provided some good entertainment for us.
Yeah, I turned everything off, and that scared me. Scared me up in probably the worst room for that to have happened in was up in Armory. That bit was totally mine. I bonked just because I choked it.
Yeah, that alert that happened in Tea Room for the first time, it was so
I was like, oh my goodness.
Oh, it was fun.
It's a good alert sound, though.
It's a banger. It's a banger, but
it's a banger
for sure.
So let this be a reminder. If there's any racers, any tournament participants in the chat, please turn off your alerts before joining the tournament race.
Turn them off through Streamlabs. If you just mute them on your OBS, it's not enough. Just turn them off completely.
Unless they're funny.
Because that's what I didn't do wrong. That's exactly what I did wrong.
Also, I recommend making a separate layout for races.
I do have a separate layout for races. That's what's funny. Is just that I didn't turn it off through my Stream Elements, or not Stream Elements, my Streamlabs.
That's fair. I don't even on this layout. I don't have
because mine comes through. Right, it comes through my OBS audio itself. So
gotcha.
I would have had to have disabled it from the website.
Gotcha. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, most
So-
of the match was just RNG, really.
It was a lot of
Did you get early
RNG
release?
kind of.
I did
Yeah.
not get early release.
Yeah,
Okay,
Dev
well,
got
I had
early
that.
release.
Okay, that's like
We were
Yeah.
pretty much
Oh.
tied out of area 2. The difference was like 5 seconds max.
yeah.
But starting area 3, I just slowly built my lead over time.
That
I-
RNG was getting worse for Dev.
I
Especially
dodged
with
the
the
poison
decoy.
mushroom and the laundry room. It got messy.
Yeah,
Well,
there
I
was
got
some.
a poison on soldiers. That was fun.
There was some. There was a few poison mushrooms we saw throughout the run,
Yeah.
messing up. You had to wait for the boo to move out of the way in laundry room, and Miles,
Yeah.
you had to drop the double in toy room. Couldn't go. For
I know
it
I
because
had I had saxophone RNG in Melodies room.
yeah,
a
that
lot
was
of- a lot
also
of-
That was
big
nice.
a lot of the area 2 boos were not good.
Yeah, my RNG start of area 2 was not great, but it got better at the end.
Yeah, I didn't get tech skip on the first one. It was in the cloth.
It was in the cloth. I just immediately went for it because
Yeah, I had to because it was in the drawer to the front, so I knew where it was. All in all, though, I mean that was a pretty good run.
Yeah, but this has been the prime example of RNG can determine these runs and these races, and it's not for the faint of heart. That sometimes you can just play out of your mind and things are just almost out of your control.
Oh yeah, and sound glitch. My goodness.
You had
Oh, yeah,
sound
it was-
glitch?
I got sound glitch on Fire Warp, and
Dude, honestly, I thought you'd be in the front, so I thought they'd use your audio, so I didn't think y'all would actually hear the effect thing.
Yeah,
right,
I was
buddy.
a bit confused trying to switch over to Miles' audio, and there was
That's
nothing
kind
there.
of crazy then. So you
Yeah.
got through Area 4 without audio.
I did basically the whole game without audio, and I'm very reliant on audio
He
cues.
heard no
so,
boost swaps. That's huge.
So luckily,
And you
there
got a
were-
sub 1 as well.
yeah, that's pretty normal for me now. So like I said, I pretty much did exactly what I needed to do. It's pretty much my average run here, which I can't be happy or sad about. Well, I'll be happy with that. It's a race.
That's a good time, actually. That's a really good time.
Yeah, to get so close to a PB time in a race, I mean, not necessarily too close, but within a minute, when you've got a pretty high level time, is pretty impressive for a race. When you can't even you can't reset over anything,
Yeah.
not even in Area 1, so you just have to keep.
Shoutouts
your
to
mind
having
set up.
shoutouts to having to reset without stopping the clock because I hit the mansion.
You hit normal mansion?
I hit normal mansion, but it was at the beginning of the run, so I just
wow.
It only lost me like 7 seconds, but I was like, all right, this is how we're starting.
Wow.
We have to stop the nerves now.
Yeah, so
I made a couple really weird mistakes, but overall I played very cleanly.
Yeah. I did a lot of good, but I made a lot of small mistakes, like climbing back down in the well, my vacuum not locking onto the fire element, the Area 3 hall,
I would say,
Armory Boo was just...
yeah, I lost Armory
That's-
Boo.
Yeah, I lost him at
both of
10.
you
He
lost
bonked.
I could not. Partially the heart messed me up, but I just could not tell if he double cackled or not.
Mine was free. I just got too close.
Oh, I hate doing that.
Yeah, it was a stupid mistake.
I guess pretty much my biggest mistakes this run were roof, hidden room, and armory boo.
yeah, so
I barely had a Boolossus one cycle. It was close.
you had one of the most interesting Boolossus one cycles I've ever seen.
Yeah,
I don't
it
think
was-
I've
That
ever
was pretty
seen.
close.
I've never seen them. I've never seen a runner stop Boolossus from reconvening that late. I mean, they were already
Yeah.
moving. They were
You
already
haven't
they
watched
were
my
moving.
runs.
They were
I've
out of
done that like
bounds.
4
They were out of
times somehow.
Yeah.
I thought it was over for me. You can't catch him out of bounds. I thought it
Yeah,
was over.
Miles got a pretty good Velocus.
It was
He got
weird,
pretty
but
good shot.
somehow worked.
Yeah, it was weird. It was a weird shot. I did not expect you to get that. Nobody did, actually. That was a pretty
They
good shot.
had a weird bonk. Hit a boo while I was bonked. I don't know. That was
Playing
strange,
pinball.
but exactly.
Expect the unexpected, though. This is Luigi's Mansion. You never know what's gonna happen.
Exactly.
So with the end of that race, we've actually completed round 2 of the tournament. We've already had quite a few round 3 matches completed.
Yeah, unfortunately, vacations overlap,
Yep,
so
we're on
that's how it
vacation.
goes.
But fortunately, we are now finished with round 2, and moving into round 3, we've got most of the races already finished. Miles is going to be going up against Zircon in round 3.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Zircon.
That should be a pretty fun race to watch.
Good luck.
And then,
I'm gonna need it.
and then Dev moves down to loser bracket round 2, which we probably won't see for a while. I think loser round 1 is going to be starting within the next couple weeks. And Dev is going to be going up against Starlight Kick sometime in the next month or so. I'm not sure exactly how they plan to schedule things out. But yeah, do either of you have anything left you want to say?
Yeah, anything left?
Good game.
Yeah, good
Had
game.
fun. Had fun.
Yeah, that was definitely a lot of fun.
I've always wanted to race you, and here we are. It happened.
Yeah, really.
We've talked about it.
We've been talking about racing each other like multiple times.
Back when I
and
played
it
a
turns-
hundo a lot, yeah, and here we are.
And it turns out our first match is we get a rivalry match. I like it.
Yep.
So we'll have to race hundo at some point. Whenever that's going to be.
I'm gonna get back into it. I promise.
Also, by the way, hundo's the better category. Don't have it.
Controversial.
Okay.
Controversial.
Okay, well, with that said, it's been great. I'm Rhombus,
I'm
And,
Electric.
and the racers, DevGameZ and Miles. Great showing from both of them. Pretty close race, and we will be seeing you all pretty soon. Thank you, and good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Oh, happy 4th of July.
That too. Happy 4th to the Americans.
Hey.
Yeah.